What's going on, YouTube people? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me for part 6 of I'm taking Solihull Moors to the Premier League. If you've been with me at the start of this journey, we have moved our way through the Vanarama National League. We are now at the end of the Sky Bet League 2 campaign. In the last video, we were top of the league. We were closing in on promotion. Let's have a look and see if we got over the line by hitting the competitions tab to show you that we have indeed won Sky Bet League 2. We finished the season with a 9-point gap to Notts County and Northampton, who are going to be promoted with us. And we finished miles clear of the playoffs. Burton finishing on 70 points, so we were 19 points clear of those teams. So let's have a little look at how we got across the line. If you remember, in the last episode, we had just gone through to the start of February and we had lost 5-1 to Mansfield. And we had a little patchy run towards the end of February. We did have a 2-1 victory against Exeter, a 3-1 victory against Barrow, and then back-to-back defeats where we conceded quite a lot of goals to Accrington and Rochdale, really let the pack close up. However, once that happened, we kicked into overdrive. We beat Harrogate 4-1, Salford 1-0, we had a 0-0 draw with Swindon, a 3-3 draw with Crewe, and a 1-0 victory against Grimsby to round out March. And that meant that we went through the first month undefeated, I believe, in the season. Newport, we beat 2-1. We had a 1-1 draw against Stockport and Cheltenham. And then we got into the nitty-gritty of it, beating both Stevenage 5-1 and Bristol Rovers 1-0 to see us through to lift the trophy. Absolutely fantastic effort from our team, and we are going to be in League 1 next season. Joining us could be Bristol Rovers, Stockport, Rochdale or Crawley, but we're only interested in the league table. Let's break this down for you. So 46 games played, we won 27, we drew 8, we lost 11, had a goal difference of 22, and we finished on 89 points. As I said, that was 9 points clear of both Notts County and Northampton, who joined us going up in the automatic promotion slots. Let's have a look at some stats then. We have nobody on the goals list so far, but Torre actually did finish joint third. He managed to get himself 20 league goals from 30 starts and 14 substitute appearances. Minutes per goal, should I say, it's 136.75. Not a bad strike rate at all for a player who was playing in the Vanarama National League South, I think it was, just a season ago. So we've really brought him in, developed him, and you can see that it's really paid off that he scored goals to help us get promoted. In terms of our highest average rated players, we had Charlie Raglan coming in with 7.04, so nobody really high scoring in the average ratings. For the assists, our highest was Joe Sbarra, 11 assists. We had Luke Matheson from wing back and Jordan Price from left wing getting 8 and 7 respectively. Let's have a look at Player of the Match awards. Our highest player didn't even make the top 13, or the equivalent of what the 13 are there. Clean sheets, let's have a look. Where did our goalie rank? So Ryan Boot kept 12 clean sheets from 46 appearances. Then in terms of yellow cards, we had Newton with 15. Donowa got 15.23 kilometres covered per 90 minutes. And Newton 4.87 dribbles per 90 minutes. So a decent season for our players. If we go back and have a look at the competitions tab once again, just to run you through the rest of the cups. FA Cup, knocked out in the first round by Peterborough. Carabao Cup, knocked out in the first round by Exeter. And the Papa John's Trophy were knocked out in the southern section. Let's have a look at the club vision first. So the board say we're untouchable. They give us an A+. And going over to the right hand side for the feedback, they were very pleased that we signed players under the age of 22 for the future. Develop players using the club's youth system, they are satisfied. Play possession football, they are pleased. Play attacking football, they are pleased. Play entertaining football, pleased. Play high tempo pressing football, very pleased. In terms of the highlights, very pleased with the comprehensive 5-1 Sky Bet League 2 triumph versus Stevenage. The board are pleased that the team won Sky Bet League 2. There is no doubt the fine run of results at the end of the season helped us in overachieving. They're delighted with the positive atmosphere around the changing room. Looking over on the left-hand side, work within the wage budget on course, grow the club's reputation, pleased, and we got a clean sweep of past for all of the current season in the 5-year plan. Have we managed to win over the supporters? No. C plus still. Not too sure what we need to do to impress our supporters. Seems that they have a bit of a downer on us, but we've hit everything that they wanted. They are pleased with the attacking football, the possession football, making the most of set pieces, very pleased with the high tempo pressing football, and they think we're still on course to avoid relegation from League 2, which is a little bit strange considering we have just won the league. Looking at the highlights, pleased with the 5-1 victory against Stevenage, pleased with the 2-1 Sky Bet League 2 win against Newport, and pleased with Ezio Touré's recent performances. Criticisms, Price, Giblin and Harvey Williams Honeyman, all of their performances not enough to please our fans. If we go to the finances, going into the new season, you can see that we are still moving further into the red. Hopefully, once the seasons tick over and we get some of the money involved in the TV rights, that will come back. Otherwise, we're going to get to the point where we're going to need to sell off one of our gems, one of our new gen Wonder Kid finds. Well, not Wonder Kids, but new gens at the start of the game that we are developing. Certainly the youngsters are going to be our biggest source of money if we have to move players on. We'll run through them in a minute and show you exactly who is interested and where they could go. But in terms of a transfer budget, they are projecting us to have £67,000 in the bank. For the wage budget, it's £38,909, so there's a massive gap of £13,000 in the wage budget, which is quite impressive. But our scouting budget is £3,500 in the red, so we might have to address that. Let's move on then and have a little look at the squad and run through the players that we bought in during the season. Kicking off with Kyle Albon, valued at £130,000 to £250,000 now at the age of 18. He had a decent season where he played 20, had 8 appearances as a substitute, scored 1 goal in the league with 1 assist and got a 6.7 average rating. A little bit alarmed that the technicals are mostly on the downgrade, heading is going up. Mentals, bit of a mixed bag here. Concentration is up, leadership is up, everything else you can see has an arrow is a down arrow, and unfortunately his physicals seem to be dropping away too, apart from stamina and strength, which are growing. But I think it's a solid season, a player that is obviously developing into the way we play football. Looking at the next one, Matthew Waite, playing as a defensive midfielder, either as the segundo volante or as the defensive midfielder outright. He has really made a role for himself. He's developing nicely. Now valued between £45,000 and £425,000 at the age of 19. He has now decided he wants to play for Scotland, which is good for us. It means he doesn't have to do all that travelling. Technicals are advancing. He has good mentors with decisions of 16, flair of 6, teamwork of 8, vision of 9, and then he started to develop his physicals too. So another player that we are going to have to keep an eye on going forwards, because he might start to attract attention from outside. He made 29 appearances with 10 more as a sub. He scored 7 goals from a defensive position, 2 assists, 3 Player of the Match awards and a 6.74 average rating in his first season. Going on to Shane Daveron, one that doesn't actually show any development whatsoever. However, he is valued between £275,000 and £475,000 at the age of 19, which is pretty good, because if we get promoted and that price goes up and there's interest, he might be one that is sacrificed if we can go and find another American new gen who can come in and take his place in terms of development. But looking at his season, 24 games with 6 more as a sub, 2 goals, 3 assists, 6.64 average rating is the reason that the fans were a little bit disappointed in him. Going further down the list, Harvey Williams Honeyman. He has played 40 League 2 games from the start. He had 2 as a substitute. He scored 3 goals from the middle of the park with 2 assists and a 6.71 average rating. He's certainly going to be a player that is leading the way. Now valued at £100,000 to £700,000. I think this is an exciting player, certainly for League 2 and League 1. And if he keeps developing at the rate that he is, I think he might outgrow the club sooner rather than later. We continue down to the bottom of the squad. Jordan Price, he's the first one that I'm going to openly admit he's getting attention from clubs. As you can see, both Millwall and Swansea are interested in him. 325,000 to £600,000. Playing off of the left wing, he has some decent stats for a left winger. The only thing developing seems to be first touch in the past month. But looking at his stats, he played 21 games from the start with 15 from the bench. 3 goals, 7 assists, a 6.61 average rating. So didn't set the world alight in terms of his average rating. But in terms of gaining experience at a higher level than he has played at before, a lot of clubs are noticing him. And he's one, again, don't really want to lose these types of players. But if we can replace him with another one and rinse and repeat, hopefully we're going to start to bring the money in that we need to be competitive going forwards. Tony Moore is the next player to look at. He is now 18, valued at 425,000 to 750,000, and another one that is on the watch list of Millwall, Sheffield Wednesday and Swansea. This is the player that is developing better than anybody. This could be low-key a lower league wonder kid at the age of 18. Irish, second nationality is now American. He has played 36 games from the start, 5 appearances from the substitutes bench, 14 goals, 4 assists, 3 player of the match awards. Okay, he only got a 6.69 average rating, but the age of 18 to be developed into a new role, which is what we did in terms of the deep line forward, and for him to go and put career stats like those up, I think that's the reason that he's going to be caught in attention from some of the other clubs. Going down to the bottom then, Ezio Torre is the last player to look at in terms of the players who came in last season. His stats look to be on the decline. I'm not too fussed about it. He's 22, 35,000 to 240,000. But have a look at his goal stats. He has played 30 games with 14 more from the bench, 20 goals, 2 assists, 3 penalties, 4 player of the match awards. He got a 6.93 average rating overall. And in terms of his career stats, that is his best return in terms of goals for a season. So no worries there whatsoever. Looking at the rest of the squad, we got players now, if we sort them by potential. Josh Jackson was one of last season's youth intakes. He has played games in the European Under-19 Championships for Poland. He is only aged stone 13 and he's only 5'2", so I'm hoping he's going to grow and grow quickly, because if he fills out and can fulfill his potential, I do think we have got a special player in Jackson. But you can see we've got players now where we've got a mix of youth and experience, and the squad is starting to come together, although I do think that we may have to rejig things going into the division above. So if we have a look at the squad planner and try and work out exactly where that might be, if we go to the assistant report first, we can see that we've got Boot, Newton, Albon, Raglan, Matheson, Waite, Williams, Honeyman and Maycock, Sabara, Moore and Kelly instead of Torre at the top. So once again, last season we improved in the wing-back areas. In the January transfer window we did the midfield. So it might be a case of looking at these 3 positions here. Sabara did sign that extension to his contract, so he'll be with the club for next season. And then we've got Moore and Kelly, who I think is about to leave the club. Yes, 30th of June, at the age of 26, he's earning £1,000. So even though it's not big money, I do think we can get a player who is equally as good for less wages. And hopefully that is what we are going to do. The other position to talk about, or the other 2 positions, should I say, is Raglan. I think he might be moved on at the end of the season. Not too sure if as we climb the divisions he's going to be good enough for what we need. And then Boot in goal. Even though it says that Boot is a strong goalkeeper, I do think that as we are going up the divisions once again, we're going to need somebody else to go between the sticks. And I think that he might be one that is sacrificed in the summer. So that's pretty much us up to date. If If we go to the club info page, we can see that the trophy cabinet is now building. We have won the Vanarama National League. We have won, so that's the Vanarama National League itself. The Vanarama National League North was in, what year was that? 2016, and then 2024, and then once the season has finished, Sky Bet League 2 will be added to that trophy cabinet. So everything is going in the right direction. We are about to move into season number 3, which is crazy, and off the back of 2 promotions, it's going to be difficult to build the squad to maintain that. Certainly we'll give it a go in terms of League 1. If we could get a mid-table finish in the first season, I would be more than happy with that. If we could sneak into the playoffs, I'd be even happier. I think it might be a bit of a push to go on and get another promotion, but that's what this save is all about. We're going to try and go as quickly as we can to the Premier League and hopefully go bang, bang, bang. The other 2 things to mention, still playing at Agbra. I think we're going to stay there. I'm not too sure the board are interested in building a new ground just yet or renovating Damson Park. And this little tab here shows we are in the process of a board takeover, so it could be an interesting summer where we need to strengthen, but with the transfer embargo, with a board takeover, it could mean that we get to the start of the new season having to rely on the youngsters that come into the team. The last thing to show you is in the dev centre. If we go to youth candidates, you can see that we have a decent enough youth intake. It went from excellent to good. We do have a couple of players who are showing up as hot prospects. Chris Roberts is the first one, can play in the middle of the park as a midfielder, can also play as a central defender or a right back. So hopefully we will get him signed up and he will be fine. Alex Howell is another player to come through, another right back, only 15 years old. Plenty of development, pace and acceleration being his 2 big standouts. And then we managed to find ourselves Dale Shelton, who's a midfield centre who plays as a Mazzala, a striker as a target forward, which is Paul Clark. That might be a decent signing as an alternative to Tony Moore, who we had to develop into that role. It seems like Paul Clark might be able to play that long term, so hopefully can develop that in the youth teams. And then Bartosz Sikorski, he's a left back. And we have a left winger too in Shepard Masuku. So it's looking bright in terms of the players coming through from the development centre in the youth candidates. They'll go nicely into the squad with the other under 18s. A few gems in there that might be moved to the first team going forwards. And then we will shuffle the pack as we go forwards to try and pick the best players out in terms of moving the club forward. So that's another successful season complete. Season 2 is in the books and we are off to League 1. As I said, it's going to be a bit difficult in terms of strengthening the squad. We're really going to have to go out and try and be selective with players. Maybe have a look at moving 1 or 2 players on, try and raise a bit of funds and stop relying so much on the free transfers. Although, as I said, Premier League players who have been released will be my first stop, and then we'll go from there as to what we do. Right then, if you've enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button to help the channel out. Cannot thank you all enough for coming back, sticking with the channel. I know it's been different. I know the content isn't what it was before, but I really do mean it when I say that we are close to coming back properly, and I think once we're up and running and everything is back to normal, the content will continue to grow and develop, and we will get there. Before you do go though, if you want to go and check out something else on the channel, there are other let's plays, hints and tips and tutorials, Wonder Kids, tactics, a little bit of something for everybody on the channel. But for this one, I'm going to leave it there. I shall see you on another episode of I'm taking Solihull Moors to the Premier League very soon.